Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Thank you so much for returning for another segment of Health Professional Radio. We'll be speaking with Ellen Goldsmith, licensed acupuncturist and Chinese herbalist, and author of the book Nutritional Healing with Chinese Medicine, more than 175 recipes for optimal health. She's going to talk about allergies and their causes, some recommended foods and some foods to reduce or avoid, and cooking methods to avoid as well. Now, the recommendations offered are a general guide and should never be a substitute for the skill, knowledge, and experience of a qualified medical professional dealing with the facts, circumstances, and symptoms of a particular case. Welcome to Health Professional Radio, Ellen Goldsmith. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Neil.
Tell us about yourself briefly, and then let's talk about what causes allergies.
Okay, well, I'm a licensed and board-certified acupuncturist and also practice Chinese herbalism, which is part of the field of Chinese medicine. But I really specialize in the use of food as medicine, which is an ancient and absolutely essential part of how we take care of ourselves. So I practice Chinese medicine here in Portland, Oregon. I teach medical professionals, graduate students, and in the use of food as medicine. And that's what I do. I've been doing that for about 30 years.
It would seem that food would be kind of the cornerstone of the medical practice here in the United States, and that is not Chinese medicine. Is that the case? It's not really focused on. That's my understanding. Is that your experience as well?
Well, I think, modern medicine has been practiced as a way to deal with disease and not really to deal in the preservation of health. But thankfully, that is starting to change. At this, the historic conference, the White House Conference on Hunger and Nutrition this past September, there's now a new mandate that medical students are taught more about nutrition in their training and how to use food as medicine. And there's a strong movement in the Western medical field now to use culinary medicine, which is really the use of food to promote health. And so I'm very heartened by that. But still, I think just the Western medicine field has a long way to go. I think there's a lot of illness, and we know there's a lot of chronic illness that is well served by a better diet and, reduction of stress, et cetera. Just lifestyle habits like food, exercise, good sleep, and managing stress. So there's a change afoot, but it hasn't been there for a long time.
What causes allergies, and can simply changing the diet alleviate allergies?
Well, there are different kinds of allergies. You have a lot of people suffer from seasonal allergies. That's, when spring comes or summer, people are just itching their eyes and their nose is running, and there could be coughing and having headaches, feeling foggy in their head. And that comes from, the pollen, et cetera. And then there's year-round, what we call perennial allergies, and those are more food allergies, those serious allergies like peanuts, strawberries, shellfish. People are allergic to pet dander, also to medications. And so, but it's the same action. The body is reacting to a substance that it sees as harmful, and so it starts to attack that substance, like it's invading my body, and so that's that inflammation that happens, that, the producing of histamines and again, that mucus, et cetera, but in more serious allergies like food allergies, you can get hives, you can even get, anaphylactic shock where your throat closes up and you need epinephrine, you need to get to the hospital ASAP. But the whole point in changing our response to allergies, and of course those perennial allergies are a little bit harder, is just to reduce the inflammation in the body and to strengthen the body's immune response in a way so that there's not this kind of fight going on. So we use food in a way to help bring down that inflammation and to bring down the heat in the body, et cetera. So that's just a kind of introduction to that approach.
You mentioned peanuts, and peanut allergies seem to stand out. When we talk about food allergies, a person who is allergic to peanuts, they can't do peanut butter either. Correct?
Correct. They can't do peanut butter. They can't even do. Some people can't even be around if there's any kind of powder of peanut in the air. If you've flown in the past 5-6 years, you've noticed nobody gets peanuts anymore on the plane. because seriously, some people have such a sensitivity that they can't even be in the same room with someone eating peanuts. And there's research going on about, can you desensitize an infant by giving them small amounts of an allergenic food when they're really, really young, to see if it can actually change the terrain and the body's response to it. But I think that's still in a research phase. My daughter was actually working on a project like that at Children's National Hospital in Washington, D.C. with a researcher.
Well, I ask about peanut butter because peanut butter is in a different form from peanut or the peanut powder. Does it make a difference what cooking method you use if you have a food allergy? Maybe, sautéing versus baking or something of that nature?
Well, it's not going to really make a difference, because if you're allergic to the substance, if you're allergic to shrimp, whether it's sautéed in a sauce, in a paella, in a soup, you're still allergic to shrimp and you're going to have a response to that. So with food allergies or medications, for instance, you have to avoid them completely. And that's just the bottom line there. But if you're having seasonal allergies, and again, if you're allergic in general, you have to bring down that inflammatory response in the body. Just bottom line. And we know that all chronic disease has an inflammatory component to it, like high cholesterol, atherosclerosis, diabetes, obesity. These kinds of things are all inflammatory. So we want to reduce the inflammatory foods and increase the anti-inflammatory foods, which are more vegetables, whole grains, nuts and seeds, beans, fish, white meat, poultry, etc. And also maybe to cook them in a way that's not loaded with tons of grease or cream or fat or, chard, etc., which creates more inflammation in the body as well. So, yeah, I think you can use food and cook them in ways that are more health-promoting, and then you can cook them in ways that are not.
Is there any advice that you'd like to give those in the Western medicine field regarding utilizing food as a way to, increase health either for themselves or maybe to share with their patients?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think I know in treating patients for the last 30 years, I've treated hundreds of patients, thousands probably, with allergies, and, taking out certain inflammatory foods like sugar, gluten, alcohol, caffeine, processed foods, refined carbohydrates. It's hard. It's hard to change our diet, but when you can take those things out of the diet and your health improves, you kind of say to yourself, wow, that was easy. So I would just encourage physicians to really ask their patients, what do you eat? And try to get them to eat more dark leafy greens, which are just incredibly nourishing and cleansing, eating more fish, more whole grains, beans, nuts, and seeds. This can make a huge difference, not only in an allergic response to the seasonal allergies and pet dander, but also just in their general health and well-being.
Give us a website where we can get a copy of your book and learn more about you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, you can go to my website at pearlnaturalhealth.com, and my book, Nutritional Healing with Chinese Medicine, is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, at your local independent bookshop. And I love to hear from people. I'm on Facebook at Nutritional Healing with Chinese Medicine, or Instagram at Goldsmith Ellen. And please follow me, stay in touch, and let me know how you like the book and the recipes.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us here on Health Professional Radio.
Thank you, Neil, for having me.
You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard, in conversation with Ellen Goldsmith. Audio copies of this program are available at healthprofessionalradio.com.au, also at Anchor, Spotify, and be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com, Health Professional Radio.